How do I identify my stress triggers and tame my anxiety? When you identify your stress triggers, you're looking for what are called antecedent behaviors. You're looking for things that started first that caused you to react. And the way that we identify those, sometimes hard for some people because they don't realize that they are overreacting, is actually ask the people around you where people think you are reacting. When we understand the antecedent to the reaction, we're talking about the root cause. So where people who are reactive or overreactive will say, of course I reacted to that because this person made me feel that way. When in reality, just because it's a trigger doesn't mean you should have a reaction. We actually want people to respond, not react. So the reactor now has to identify what are the things that are making me react. The people around them can very commonly identify that because they're not the ones who are victims of the stress. Number two is we look to see where we're most reactive. What are the things that really set me off the most? For example, when I have an employee who comes in late, I notice that stresses me out and then I react to that person. But keep in mind, we still want you to respond to that person. The last one is we keep data. What is the data? Well, we keep a log every day. I reacted to this, or I felt stressed on this day when this happened. When we look at the data through our day and we journal that, we find that there are common trends of very specific details that we call triggers that are actually elevating our emotion. And that emotion is stress. And the stress comes from cortisol, and that is your hormone that makes you reactive to the trigger. So I have a few tips for you on how to reduce your stress and your anxiety. The first tool that I would use if you're feeling stressed or anxious is to slow down your breathing. So we want you to be a nose breather, not a mouth breather. When you breathe in through your mouth, that cold air is actually ramping up your system, raising your cortisol because it's restricting blood flow and oxygen in your chest. So we want to breathe through our nose. If you notice when you breathe through your nose, it's actually warmer air, and that warm air gets into your chest easier. So we want to breathe in for 3 seconds through your nose and out of your nose for 3 seconds. The ideal standard would be to breathe in through your nose for 3 seconds and out of your nose for 6. When you can breathe in your nose for a certain amount of time and out of your nose twice as long, you are guaranteed to drop your cortisol levels to baseline. The second technique to use when you're feeling stressed or anxious is to ground yourself. Now, that doesn't mean to put yourself in timeout. It means to check in. Where am I and what do I see or what do I smell? So here we go. If I'm stressed right now and I'm losing my mind and I'm in traffic and I'm feeling I'm going to be late for a meeting, I could say, where am I? Well, I'm in my car. Well, right now I can't really control anything for that meeting, so maybe I could make a call. Maybe I can pull down the windows. Maybe I can use my GPS to find an easier way to get there. When I create that where I am, what I'm really stressed about if I'm late for work is what I'm supposed to be doing at work. Then I want to look at what's around me. What do I smell? It brings me back to baseline because when you activate your olfactory system in your nose, you have the ability to smell the air, flowers, that green tree hanging from your mirror, or you could listen to music and it can calm you down. When we use our senses, it takes us out of what is making us stressed and allowing us to be connected to ourselves. And that's what we call grounding. The third technique that I love and I recommend to all my patients and friends is to use havening, Havening techniques. Havening is where you use a slow stroke forehead down to the jawline. So we say hairline to jawline. 2 seconds per each stroke, only stroking down. Hands up. And again, how do we know that works? Because if you ever notice a baby, a newborn who's crying and screaming and it won't go to sleep, what does the mother do successfully? Use these 2 fingers right here, rub the forehead of the baby, and the baby starts to feel comfortable and fall asleep. Why? Because it reduces your high stress, which is called a high gamma frequency in your brain, in your function, and reduces it on the sense of touch to a delta frequency, which is what allows us to sleep at night. You can even act like you're washing your hands, and any of those frequencies of delta will actually bring that gamma frequency down, which will then drop your cortisol and get your stress and anxiety back to baseline. Hi, my name is Dr. Buzz, the Stress Doctor, and if you want to learn how to manage your stress, make sure you subscribe.